Hi everyone, this is Peter Nonamaker. Welcome to 5 Minutes with the Guru. I'm with my friend Dean Robinson, and Dean's business is the Family Business Transformer, and previously worked in the big accounting practice as a principal, now runs his own business from home, works with his wife. How's that work out where you go from a corporatised business to now working from home?
It's fantastic. It's great, Pete. You've got to have a few dynamics you have to be aware of. Clearly, it's all around things like how you talk to your spouse when you're working with your spouse. And that's not just the language, but it's the tone of the language.
Yes.
You have to be very careful around that.
Yeah. And when you wake up each morning, is it a case if I walk in this door, I'm in the house? If I walk in this door, I'm in the business?
Well, my joke is my commute is 9 steps.
Okay.
So, but you have to be very careful around that. You have to have a dedicated area in your home where you are working.
Yep.
And you've got to be able to switch off from it. And I know a couple of people find that very hard to be able to do that. And so what they have to do is actually put the old open and close sign on the office door, simply because it's their mindset.
Yes, yeah. I've actually heard of one business where they actually walked around the house into another door, so they felt like they were actually walking to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's a mindset.
Yeah, it is, but you've got to be disciplined. You have to be incredibly disciplined, and I think it's either you can do it or you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's not an in-between thing.
Yeah, you have to really focus on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you deal with a lot of family businesses, obviously, hence the name. What do you think are the main mistakes people make before they go into business, and the most mistakes people make when they continue on in business?
So before they go into business, they're technicians. So one of the things is that they think that they're a great electrician, for instance, so they're going to then be the best electrical company in the world, but they're not. So they don't think entrepreneurially. And essentially there's 3 levels. There's the technician, there's the manager, and there's the entrepreneur. And when you run your own business, you have to think like an entrepreneur, even though the people that are working for you are the technicians. Now, the problem is a lot of business owners don't operate enough in the entrepreneurial space. And so what happens is they revert back to the technician's role. And that's where you see a lot of roller coastering happening in businesses, because they're not out there building the business, they're out there doing the do, and that means they're not actually cultivating the field for the next harvest.
Yes, and your true statement that you got to work on the business, not so much in the business at regular periods.
Well, and look, one of the keys I find where businesses aren't doing that well is they're not great at marketing. In actual fact, I would say most businesses are poor at marketing at best, and it's non-existent in most of them. And then that doesn't take much. You know, my best client probably catches up with about 4 or 5 people a week with a coffee or a sandwich or something like that. It doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be detailed, but he just does enough to just keep sort of tilling the soil, just to make sure that something might be coming up in 3 or 6 months or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yep, so you keep that work in progress, always churning over.
Absolutely.
What are some of the downsides from working at home, and what are some of the upsides?
Well, look, the downside is you do have to have a cut-off. You have to say, right, and for us it's after dinner. No more conversation about the business or clients or whatever the issues are or whatever it could be. So you've got to be very rigid about that, right? So, and if you're not rigid about it, you end up having a drift, right? For me, the upside is life balance.
Yep.
You know, I had a situation where I had a client Skype call the other week one afternoon at about 3 o'clock. I had another one lined up at 5. So at 4 I thought, gee, it's pretty hot today. I went and dived in the pool for a little while. So, show me a business where people can actually go and do that.
Yeah, we were talking before about the technology in business now, and you just mentioned Skype. I just think that is just such a time saver now with regard to travel to appointments and actually setting up at someone's place or in your business. How do you manage that process with Skype, and how do your clients receive that?
So that's part of the agreement that I would have with some clients. If it's like for some clients it's monthly and some clients it's weekly, I engage with them. And what I do with that is it's a dedicated time. If it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, bang, we start. There's no messing about. There's no waste of time. There's no inefficiency. We get on and do what we have to do, and we're finished by 1:30 or 2 o'clock or whatever the time is. I find it's a great way to actually manage your diary. You're not doing a whole lot of time, spending a whole lot of time travelling, and you're not spending a whole lot of time, talking about stuff that's not really what you should be talking about.
Yeah, good. And when you're not working hard, I believe you like motor vehicles.
Oh,
and,
that's-
looking at fast cars.
Well, you're talking about my dream, which was was to race cars, and I quickly found out that the cheapest way to go motor racing was to be a spectator. So last year I became a member of the Tickford Racing team,
Oh yes.
and I stumped up the money, and I finally got the chance to do a hot lap in a real V8 supercar
Wow.
at Eastern Creek, sorry, and it was fantastic. It just blew my head. I just couldn't believe the smell and the heat and the power and just how much it plays with your body and everything. And it was a childhood dream come true to be able to do that.
Yeah, good on you. Well, thanks for spending 5 minutes with the Guru, and thanks for what you do for small business. Good
Great.
on you.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Pete.
Cheers.